What up, y'all? It's your hometown hero, the real Adam Coleman. Y'all know what it is, man. True Idea Apologetics. And if you've been watching me over Facebook, Twitter, Instagram for like the last week and a half or so, you know we had the whole squad in San Diego just this past week witnessing to Muslims and Hebrew Israelites really doing this urban apologetics thing, man. We had the squad, and I've got a whole lot of footage coming y'all way over the next couple of weeks from that, man, where you can see, you know, kind of a play-by-play of everything that we was getting into, man. So right here, I'm just giving y'all a little bit of a snippet, just a tidbit of what's to come. In this video right here, we got my man Sam, Shamoun, John McCray. We was out there answering some objections or really questions from a seemingly sincere Muslim that we ran into while we was out there, man. So, you know, shout out to him. We had a really good convo. So y'all check this out right here and stay tuned because I got much more to come. All right, peace.
Because Matthew, Luke, and John, they came after. No, they came after.
It says Isa will descend among you. Isa will descend soon among you.
I do have a question.
Yeah, sir. By the way, I'm speaking Arabic to you. I'm not just a few Arabic words, so I'm assuming.
Oh, I don't know any either.
Okay.
Oh, just a few words. But I have a question. Like, how do you guys reconcile? Like, I'll watch like the Christian historian,
Yes.
and they'll say only 7 or 6 letters are authentic.
Yeah, because
No, but do you guys follow that?
no, that's,
I don't know.
He's talking about people like Barton.
Right.
The people you're quoting as Christian scholars, they're not necessarily scholars. They are what they call agnostic or atheists.
Yeah, Bart Ehrman's
Do not
definitely
do not believe that God inspires people. And if there are differences in the language of a letter, let's say you're writing a letter to your friend, and then you write a letter to your wife. I don't expect you're going to write the same way to your friend to your wife, right?
Yeah.
So what do the scholars do? They'll see Paul write to Timothy, and they see he uses different words than he did when he wrote to this group. Therefore, because they're different words, it means it's a different author. But if I use that logic, I can then take a letter that you wrote to your wife, then I can take a letter that you wrote to your boss, and I can take a letter that you wrote to your friend, and see that you use different language. Because the way you're going to talk to your wife, you're not going to talk to him that way, right? Oh, see, you didn't write him. Someone else did. Now, what would you say to that assumption?
If I believe that I wrote the letter, yeah, I would disagree with that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so there is no evidence.
For the same
Historically,
reason, that's why,
there is no evidence whatsoever that these other letters were not from Paul. It is a modern assumption that if there's different vocabulary. And a second problem, in the ancient world, they would use scribes.
Yeah.
So Paul had many scribes. One of his scribes was Silas. One of his scribes was Tertius. So I can have this scribe say, okay, write these words down. And then I can tell him for another letter, but the scribes don't write the same way. They write differently, especially if I give them the freedom to communicate my words in a way that will be sensible to him and the way he writes. So if I use you as a scribe, are you going to write like him?
No.
And then I have him write another letter for me in a different time.
Yeah.
Is he going to write like you?
No.
Are there going to be differences?
Yeah.
Does that mean I didn't dictate to you two or ask you to write for me? That's the logic of these skeptics.
And then keep in mind, too, some of those letters are written while Paul is in jail, right? You know what I'm saying? So, of course, he's going to have to rely upon others to assist him writing things. So, to his point, you know, when it comes to, you know, the different scribes, if you take those 2 points into account, the different scribes and also different terms of audiences that you're writing to, you know what I'm saying? It makes a whole lot of sense why every letter wouldn't be cookie cutter. You know what I'm saying? And so for those same reasons, that's why I reject this notion that, okay, well, some of these letters aren't authentic and some of them are. I think you have to take those real world factors into account. See what I'm saying?
Playing for the camera, making them look better.
That's. I was wondering.
What else you wondering? Go ahead, I'm listening.
Well, I do have a. So, when Paul was preaching, did all the churches in the first century have copies of his letters, or no?
Yeah, well,
what were
they would make copies of, yes. For example, when he wrote a letter to the Ephesians, they would then send it out to other churches, and he says to do that. For example, if you read Colossians 4:16, he goes, read the letter from the Laodiceans and have them read this. So they would copy the letters because they understood this is a letter of an apostle and a spokesperson for Jesus Christ. And so they wanted that letter. Hey man, the apostle wrote you a letter, we want a copy. So they would mass copy these letters early on, and then it would spread wide and far throughout the then known world. And that's in Colossians 4:16.
And actually, in the centuries that follow, among the reasons why a letter or one of the Gospels or whatever would be taken to be what's called canon, you know what I'm saying, as, you know, in terms of having authority versus one that isn't, one of the things that they took into account is how much had that letter circulated amongst the church. I'm saying, I mean, anybody can write anything. I'm saying, but if it wasn't gaining traction, I'm saying, and wasn't ministering to the ecclesia, the body, then that was an indicator that something wouldn't be included. But Paul's letters, obviously, because they were circulating like that, and service to the body, that was one of the factors that where his letters be included into the canon. So he was definitely in heavy circulation, if you will. He used hip hop terminology.
I was under the impression
he was getting spins. You know what I mean?
I was under the impression that Marcion only had the.
Martian. Well, let me talk about
He only had the 7 letters of Paul and a redacted book of Mark, and then he came
not Mark.
Luke,
Martian. Luke. Martian.
Oh, yeah, Luke.
Why did Martian do that? Because Martian thought that the God of the Old Testament was a just God and an evil God, and Jesus came to liberate you from that God.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what your background is. I don't know what you believe, but obviously, one thing about Jesus we know for certain, he preached that the God of the Old Testament is a true God.
Amen.
So for someone to come and say the God of the Old Testament is an evil God, and Jesus liberates you from that, you know that's not the teachings of the historical Jesus. So what did Paul do? What did Martian do? He took the letters of Paul, edited them, and took Luke, edited any positive reference to the God of the Old Testament. So the rest of the Gospels he had no use for because there was too much references to the God of the Old Testament. Even Luke had too much for his taste, so he edited it. Whereas with Paul, there are not as much allusions or reference to the Old Testament, and so he could deal with that and chop it up. And that's what forced the church to say, no, Martian, you can't play with the canon this way. You can't just take the letters of Paul that you like and edit them and take the Gospel of Luke and edit it because you don't agree that the God of the Old Testament is a true God. That's not going to happen. Because one thing we know is that the historical Jesus affirmed the God of the Old Testament. So Martian is not a friend. Not only is he not a friend for the church, he's not a friend for anyone who believes the God of the Old Testament is the true God. So I don't know if that's what you What do you believe about the God of Abraham?
Oh, I used to be a Christian. I'm not anymore.
Okay, so but what are you now?
I'm a Muslim now.
Okay, so as a Muslim, you believe the God of Ibrahim is a true God.
Yeah.
Martian would say you're smoking crack.
Yeah.
Would you agree with Martian?
No.
So you're smoking
No,
crack.
because I remember.
Hey, we going around in circles, dog.
Captain Taz,
I tell you what.
Pharisees' objection to Jesus.
17.
The answer
yo,
the Good Samaritan.
Shut them down.
Okay, if I give you this book, will you read it?
I can't promise you that I read it.
I mean, will you accept it?
I'll accept it.
It's a book, I wrote a chapter in it.
do a
you know
joke
what I'm
video
saying?
with it.
It's urban apologetics. You know what I'm saying?
I got
showing
you.
black dignity with the gospel.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? Whether
I'll-
you read it or not, I'm just handing off to you. You do what you do.
I'll most definitely receive it. Can I tell you I'm gonna read it or not? Can I confirm that I'm gonna read it or promise it? I can't. But I'll take it for sure. I'm a fan with that. You feel me?
Yes. Okay.
It's all good.
Do you have any success with anyone, Vader? Like any?
Well, I was mostly just asking questions. You know, I was mostly just asking questions. I have a hard time, subscribing to the doctrine because of several reasons, but particularly Ephesians 2:11, where it says you Gentiles in the flesh. So I was asking them, how can I? So I was asking them, what do you mean about it? You know what I'm saying?
So you heard a lot of conversation. What's your review of it?
My review.
Carlton,
I gotta review the
Got some video of you talking to them?
What are you, a referee? You ain't got no basic.
See, people got ripped to shreds. People got ripped really bad.
That's all you got.
It was real bad, man.
Hey, I just want to say, you notice, like, we show up and then people don't want to talk and want to, ignore each other and stuff, but then, like, it gets friendlier at the end. That's what happened with GMS, you know what I mean? That's pretty cool. No, yeah, it got friendlier at the end.
Yeah. Anything to say? I'm just Facebook Live, not that many, just whatever.
Oh no, man. You know what we do, man. I mean, so it's all about love and doctrine, man. You know what I'm saying? We try to, get out wherever we can and share the gospel, share right doctrine. And it's just so happy we had the opportunity out here with these guys from Sakari. You know what I mean? It didn't be a good build, nice little friendly conflict, for most of the time. You know what I mean? But I felt like we was able to build. And I got, snap, that joint looks dope. I can't even lie.
Oh, let me try to get it. Oh, that car. I got some of it.
My bad. That was like really unprofessional, but that was a really dope looking car though.
Yeah, I saw
But yeah, man, we got to preach to the gospel, man. Listen. Lest anybody get it confused. At the end of the day, we're about preaching the gospel, man.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? We're about preaching right doctrine for this thing. If you mishandle God's word, you can't know him right. Simple as that.
So the reason why we come out here is not so we can bash people, not so we can start fights, because I love the guys that I'm dealing with. I love people, who we're engaging. I want to see them walk in the truth. I want to see them know the true and living God. And so therefore, that's why we get out here and do what we do, man. I'm saying we're trying to start something new here. This is how the Christian life should be. You know what I'm saying? Bringing the gospel to where people are getting out in the field and doing what we do. So, y'all know what it is. True ID, Adam Coleman. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I'm going to
I'll get it.
Yeah,
Tell him.
So right here, I gave Captain Taz a copy of my book, The Urban Apologetics.
Restoring Black Dignity with the Gospel, man. Urban Apologetics, Restoring Black Dignity with the Gospel. I gave him a copy of that. Hopefully he'll check it out. And y'all know what it is, man.
All right, y'all. Like I told you, we just getting started with a video recap of this trip. So stay tuned. And as always, love God, love people, and take care of the things that God blesses you with. And while you're waiting on the next video to drop, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, share this to your friends, enemies, and whoever else. And click on some of the stuff that we have over here so you can check out more material that we have here on the channel. Peace.